Good, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, so it's time for my midweek pickup. Today, I just want to take on the topic of, I guess you can say, struggling and maybe a little bit of depression and going through things and feeling to the point to where you think you want to give up, but giving up is not really an option. I've told one of my closest friends the other day that, it's the storm is not going to last forever. And I told her that, God takes us through certain things for reasons that He only knows. And He takes us through those things so we can become stronger and so we can know how to better handle ourselves the next go round, just in case something like that happens again. We can already be armored up and protected by Him and His glory, versus going through that whole situation and being completely devastated, letting it drain the life completely out of you, and just adding more stress and more frustration to your life. And I know that it's easy for someone to sit back who's not going through what you're going through, and someone who's on the outside looking in telling you that it's going to be okay, and just try and work through it. That is always something that's difficult, because when you go through something and somebody else has never went through it, it's kind of hard for you to take heed to the advice that they're trying to give you, because in the back of your mind you're thinking, you never went through this before, so how can you tell me anything if you don't have any real experience with it? Some people don't even want to hear what you have to say. But when you're a child of God, it's not that life is going to be easy just because you're a child of God. When you are a child of God, life sometimes can be harder because of the test and the tribulations that He's going to put you through, because God does not want us to be weak. God wants us to be strong. We are His children. We are made in His image. So He's trying to not only give us tougher skin, but give us the experience, so maybe one day we can be a testimony to someone else, and we can help someone else who went through the same thing that we went through, or just something that's going to make yourself stronger so you can get through life and just keep pushing harder and harder. Determination is something that is very hard to have, and I think when God puts you through certain things or whatever, He's trying to build character and give you more determination so you can become better and do what you have to do for yourself, for your family, and just other things that could come up in your life, because people are put in our lives for a reason. And whether we try and, I guess, fellowship to them in the way that they need to be, all depends on the experiences that we go through. So with that being said, I want to tell everybody, once again, just like I told her, the struggle is not going to last always. The storm is not going to be you're not going to go through the storm all the time. It's always going to be a calm in the storm. And then when the storm is over, the relief and the weight that's lifted off of you is so miraculous that if you didn't go through it, then you couldn't appreciate the outcome of it. So with that being said, that's really all I wanted to focus on that topic today. Another thing that I wanted to just address is I'm from Houston, Texas, and we had a very tragic accident yesterday that involved a school bus, and 2 children lost their lives. Bus drivers injured. 3 other children are critically injured. The car who hit the bus, is injured. And just very, very tragic moment. I didn't know the severity of it until I watched the news last night at 10. This accident happened yesterday morning around this time, I believe. And one thing that I want to do, of course, first and foremost, is send out prayers to everybody that's involved in this accident. What people don't understand is an accident is exactly what that word is, an accident. So we have to lift up everybody in prayer who's involved in the accident. I could see if it was like malicious or something, or it was something done on purpose, then yes, maybe you can form opinions and everything like that. But this is an accident. This is something that was not supposed to happen. And me as a parent, it always touches me when things like this happen to children, and you kind of put yourself in that place, and you kind of feel the pain of loss for the other parents who lost their children. And it's so mind-blowing that you get up and you do your same routine every day, and you send your kids off to school, and you're not even thinking, the thought hasn't even entered your mind that, maybe they won't come home today, because that's not what you're thinking. You're not supposed to think like that. But life happens, and when tragedy strikes, that's when the hardest thing to deal with is the loss of a child to me. I could never fathom having to bury my child before. I always look at it as the parent is to die first or whatever. And I've been around parents that have lost their children, and I don't know how they can handle it or go through it. But I'm pretty sure that, with prayer and with God and everything, the pain has not fully subsided, but it becomes easier to deal with, I guess. But just everybody, if you can, whoever's watching this, just take time out of today, say a prayer for those families, especially the families who lost children. Say a prayer for the children that's still in the hospital for a speedy recovery. Say a prayer for the lady who hit the bus, who she thought that somebody was coming into her lane to hit her. Say a prayer for the bus driver. These kids fell off the freeway on a bus with no seatbelt, so you just have to imagine how scared they was. And it's something that's completely mind-boggling. It's not for us to understand why it happened. And even though when things like this do happen, the first thing in your mind is to ask why and question God. But no matter how tragic it is, we are not supposed to ever question God, because His will is done, and it's nothing we can do about it. We can't change it or reverse time. That's why I'm so big on time. And I'm also now very big on cherishing the moments with your loved ones like it's your last, because you never know when God is going to call anybody home. I left the house today. I could be gone in the next 5 minutes, but you have to cherish the time that you have here and the time that you spend with people. Don't take your kids for granted. Don't take anybody in your life for granted. If you have love for somebody and you love somebody, show that person that you love them every chance that you get, because you never know what could happen. And like I said, it's very tragic, but again, you never know what can happen. With that being said, I'm going to let y'all go. As always, put God first, put your family second. Everything else will fall into line. Have a blessed day. I will see y'all next week again. Be here again for Midweek Pickup. Remember, we're in the third quarter, so when you establish them goals at the beginning of the year, make sure that you're keeping up with them goals and you're accomplishing them, because if you don't set standards for yourself, nobody else is going to respect the drive that you're trying to push forward. And if you don't have goals, you're never going to evolve into something better than what you are. So with that being said, I'll see y'all next week. Have a great week. Have a good weekend.